The Packsaddle Librarian by Benjamin Peel, performed by Karen Fraser. I think I must have frighted poor Charles, though he was never going to admit it. "Who you be talking to?" he demanded. "Oh, I'm sorry, sir," says I. "I didn't see you there. I was just making small talk with my horse, Betsy Girl here. Decided this stretch made for easier walking than riding." Then he asked me, "What's a young miss doing out here in this weather? Sure cold enough to snap a wood chopper like it were a piece of glass," he says. "I brought you good folks some reading material," I replies, to which he says, "And just what the heck would I be needing reading material for?" "Haven't you heard?" I say. "Myself and a bunch of other women are bringing out books and magazines to y'all out here." He can't believe that women got nothing better to do than be traipsing around where we're not wanted, and he's darn well surprised ain't none of us have perished. "I'm doing it, sir, as I believe it to be a just and true cause." Then his wife, Elizabeth, appears, and Charles tells her that I've brought some reading material for them all. She informs him, "I did tell you they were going to be coming here and all, after County Clay started a scheme up. But as usual, you didn't listen. Man, Betsy Girl? Close your ears for this bit. You mean to tell me you're going all over the county on this raggedy beast taking books to folks?" Charles exclaims. "And their children. It's mostly for them," I tell him. He reckons, though, that their two babes are too young for books. "It's my opinion, sir," I somewhat pompously declaim. "I have to readily admit that children are never too young to be read to." Elizabeth then pipes up, "That's what I keep telling him. They need to be able to read and write if they're going to get work." That really sets Charles off. "Work? They be darn lucky if they see any of that. They better off staying here. We don't need no help from anyone, especially this government. We can take care of ourselves." He asks me if I'm being paid for bringing out books to them, which I tell them that I am. This leads him into pondering what use books are out here. He believes that he knows all he needs to from what his mama and papa taught him. Then Elizabeth wants to know, "And where's that gotten us? We're still scrabbling around the same way they were, only it's even worse now. I want more for our kids," she remarks, with more than a hint of irritation. I thought it was beginning to get a little heated, so I told Charles, "Sir, I have magazines on farming and on cooking. I have copies of the Bible, of Shakespeare." That didn't go down too well, though, as he scornfully says, "You think Shakespeare's gonna help us, ma'am? I'd like to know who came up with this darn foolish scheme." Then, instead of keeping quiet, I just keep on digging, even more, and quote at him. "A fool thinks himself to be wise, but a wise man knows himself to be a fool." "You not be mocking me?" he rightfully asks. "No, sir, I was just—" "Bragging at us dirt poor folk," Charles retorts. "Then thank the Lord if Elizabeth don't come to my rescue." That's from As You Like It. Touchstone? "I believe so, ma'am." Charles can't believe that she knows that. She owns a complete Shakespeare, she tells him. It's been passed down through her family. It was with her grandparents when they came over from Ireland. Charles has never seen her reading it, but Elizabeth peruses it when he's out of the house and keeps it safely out of sight. I'm intrigued. "May I ask, ma'am, who taught you to read?" I inquire. "There's not so many in these parts as can." It transpires that her grandmama did, as she spent a lot of her final years bedridden, and she would read to her. So Elizabeth learned that way. Charles can't believe Elizabeth ain't never seen fit to tell him. Part of my remit, Betsy, is to offer to read to these folks. But seeing as Elizabeth said she could already, I suggested that she read to her husband, though he straightaway said they had no time for that. It must sure be tough for them out here, as Elizabeth got a bit emotional. In the evenings, when the kids are both in bed, she suggested to him, it could be good for us. Lord knows we are both. It just might help. Well, I ain't interested in Shakespeare, was the response to that. I intervened and said I had a Robinson Crusoe or some Mark Twain, as I thought he'd enjoy those, being adventure stories and all. Is Robinson Crusoe the one about the man being stuck on an island? Charles asked of me. Yes, that's the one, sir. I think you would like that. Just let me find it for you. Elizabeth asked to take a couple of those magazines I mentioned, and invites me to come in for a coffee, as I must be frozen to my bones, which at that point I most surely was. Thank you, ma'am. I will. I'll just go and tie up my, close your ears again, Betsy Girl, raggedy beast first. That led Charles to looking all embarrassed and offering to do that for me. As he was leading you off, he turns round. Oh, and if you have any trouble when you're out doing the rest of your rounds, tell him Charles Buchanan says you're okay. Thank you, sir. I'll be sure to do that, I gratefully retorted. Come on, Betsy, my raggedy beast. Let's go and lighten your load some more.